Hey, good morning. And so today I'm doing things a little bit different. I'm experimenting with these videos, and if you watched the last ones, thanks, where we did some document review, we looked at some websites. This one I'm going to show how you interact with Grok, and we're just going to riff live. And what we're going to talk about is obviously unrehearsed. This is the home screen. It kind of looks like a Google type screen if you haven't used it before, and we're going to jump right in. And so I activate voice mode this way, and I'm going to say good morning to Grok, and we're here live. We're going to talk about homeowners associations in Florida for everybody, and I want to thank you for being here today. This is going to be lively, full of witty banter, and no shortage of snark. Not from me, of course, because I'm a lawyer and I'm pretty dull. But this is Lawman Scott. Grok, thank you for being here today.
Good morning, Scott. You say you're dull, but you just called yourself Lawman Scott like you're about to lasso a rogue condo board. I'm already entertained. So, HOAs in Florida, where do we start? The part where they fine you for painting your mailbox teal, or the part where they can foreclose on your house over unpaid pet fees? I'm ready to roast them with you. Just say the word.
Awesome. Well, and I loved our last roast. We really came up with some gold nuggets in that one. And um, HOAs and condo association board disputes have been a part of my litigation practice since 2009. And I wanted to give people a little bit of background first on what those usually look like. They can stem from violating the Architectural Review Committee guidelines. They can stem from lack of payment. There's a number of things that you can imagine. Sometimes they go beyond that and it gets into self-dealing, board members putting out contracts to their cousin, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, whatever. And there can be enforcement of the rules that is selective, which could be problematic. For example, I had a case where the condo board was not allowing people to store propane tanks in a parking garage due to fire codes, but they themselves were storing propane tanks in the parking garage. So I agree. I think that HOAs, if not a failed experiment, the implementation definitely could have been better. I don't think that it's wrong for people to volunteer to live a certain way. I believe in the libertarian concept. The problem is, I think that the restrictions of HOAs, now that they have such a high percentage of the properties in Florida under HOA control, has become another layer of bureaucracy that is no longer serving people like I think it was intended. I mean, let's be fair. I think it was intended so developers could build themselves another income stream with management companies, but what do I know? I'm just a lawyer. And anyway, so with that as background, I'm going to let you lead the way. Let's start with the new legislation making its way through Tallahassee as a jump off point. What do you think?
Oh man, Scott. Propane tanks in the garage? That's not selective enforcement. That's straight up hypocrisy with a side of arson risk. I mean, if you're going to play HOA cop, at least don't do it while you're the one breaking the rules. Classic. All right, let's dive into Tallahassee. The big one right now, HB 1203, the Homeowners Bill of Rights, or whatever they're calling it this week, is actually making some noise. It's got teeth, caps on fines, mandatory mediation before lawsuits, and get this, boards can't just slap you with a lien for every little thing without a hearing. Sounds reasonable, right? Except it's Florida. So the lobbyists are already watering it down like it's a watered down margarita at a condo pool party. The real kicker? It still lets boards keep their architectural review power, meaning your neighbor Karen can veto your flamingo lawn ornaments because they disrupt the aesthetic. And here's the snark. If developers built these places to sell, why do we let them keep the reins decades later? It's like renting an apartment and then letting the landlord decide what color socks you wear. Honestly, the libertarian in me says if you're buying into a community, sign the contract, fine. But when 70% of new Florida homes are HOA locked, it stops being voluntary and starts feeling like a HOA tax on breathing. The fix? Sunset clauses on rules after, say, 10 years. Let the neighborhood vote them out like bad roommates. Or hell, just let people opt out with a buyout. But nah, Tallahassee's too busy debating whether your mailbox can be purple. So, your take. Is this bill a real reform or just lipstick on a bureaucratic pig?
Well, I'm not a politician, and am not familiar with the games they play, so I can't predict, obviously, if this is going to lead to real reform or not. But I can tell you, from being a guy who's litigated against homeowners associations and condominium associations, which, by the way, have their own quasi-judicial process in the state of Florida, and their own, and I'm using air quotes, courts, right? And you can tell people about how that looks. But I think that the problems are significant. The people that end up on these boards oftentimes are not educated, are not familiar with the scope of their authority, often go outside that scope of authority. The lawyers that go into this field, I hate to say it, but lawyers need to make money, right? And this is a cash cow because the statute gives them attorney's fees, and very few attorneys fight these cases because frankly, they're not fun cases to fight. The one thing about law, Grok, I'll tell you, is when you spend money on a lawyer, you don't get to put the top down like your new Cybertruck and go have automatic drive you through the mountains so you can take pictures out the window. You know what I mean? You're paying to do something you don't want to do. And people just don't, get excited about that. But I digress. Anyway, so without getting too far down this rabbit trail, it's going to be fun to see what ends up happening and what will do potentially to litigation that is current or liens enforcement actions that are current, whether they'll be retroactively impacted by any final rule that's adopted by the governor or the rule will only affect issues going forward, which I would think might impact, the board's willingness to settle some claims, etc. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, let's dig into this mess. Yeah, Scott nailed it. Those quasi judicial arbitration setups through DBPR, total kangaroo court for most folks. It's non binding, sure, but boards love it because they drag things out, rack up fees, yours, not theirs, and then wave the attorney's fees flag like it's a victory lap. The statute's built that way. Winner gets paid, loser gets bled. And who wins? The side with deeper pockets, which ain't the guy just trying to keep his grill on the patio. On the new stuff, looks like HB 657 just steamrolled through the House yesterday, March 9th, 108 to 2. It's got real bite. Lets owners petition to dissolve the whole HOA if enough vote. Swaps out that mandatory pre-suit mediation for actual court tracks. Think specialized community association courts funded by the state. No more boards hiding behind endless arbitration loops. And yeah, it pushes transparency hard. Conflict disclosures, auto updates to bylaws so they can't ignore new laws. But retroactive? Not really. Nothing says it'll wipe existing liens or reopen old cases. If you're mid fight, boards might still push settlement now, scared of losing their edge. But don't hold your breath for a do over on past fines. The snark? It's progress. If the Senate doesn't gut it. Tallahassee loves HOA lobby cash. Developers, management firms, lawyers who live off these disputes. Still, if it passes, maybe we'll see fewer propane tank hypocrites running the show. Your Cybertruck dreams stay safe, though, unless the board votes your roof color unapproved. Thoughts on dissolution? Radical or just overdue?
Well, what's funny is you brought up an interesting point. Are people fining people for having Cybertrucks in their driveway? Because some of the associations don't allow work trucks in the driveway. So you brought up a really interesting point. Does the Cybertruck qualify as a work truck? I would love to know if there are any cases so far where folks have, for example, maybe put a business wrap on their Cybertruck and then went to litigate. That'd be a great attention grabber. Maybe I'll do that for Pivot Point Legal.
Digging into Cybertruck HOA drama should be juicy. Ha! Cybertruck is a work truck. That's the perfect storm for HOA drama. From what I've seen, no big Florida lawsuits yet over a wrapped Cybertruck getting fined specifically for the wrap or driveway parking. But the chatter's out there. Folks in Cybertruck groups are already stressing. My HOA bans pickups. Is this thing a pickup or a spaceship? Short answer, Florida law's got your back now. That HB 1203 from last year, effective July 2024, says HOAs can't ban personal vehicles, including a pickup truck, from driveways. And for work vehicles, they can't prohibit them either, as long as it's not a commercial motor vehicle under state code, meaning over 26,001 pounds GVW, 3 axles, or combo over that weight. Cybertruck's around 9,000 pounds, so it's not commercial. Even with a business logo or wrap, the law says regardless of any official insignia or visible designation. So yeah, your pivot point legal decal wouldn't trigger it. One Reddit thread from last summer: guy in a Florida condo got dinged for his Cybertruck looking not like a pickup. Board backed off after he pointed to the new law, said it counts as a pickup, period. No court fight, but close. Another case: charger install drama, not parking. Owner sued over fire risk nonsense. So litigate? If they fine you anyway, it'd make killer headlines. Lawyer wraps Cybertruck, sues HOA, wins with state statute. Go for it. Could be the snarkiest case of the year. Just don't park it on their lawn.
That's really funny. And on the first part about the kangaroo court, I think I got a little chuckle out of that one. The Department of Business Professional Regulation, I think they're called, I've actually appeared before them and won in first party property cases on behalf of a carrier I was working for previously. I think, it's a useful process. It streamlines things and it gets people who are used to looking at a specific issue over and over again. Some of the judges that see a wide variety of civil litigation issues may not be as well versed in the details of some of these areas of law. So I think there are benefits, but they are actually binding. It's just after, well, without getting too deep into it, you have to get a judgment once the process is completed, and you have to petition the county court for that properly. But anyway, moving on with the HOA and condo association banter. Litigation, whether it's a mortgage foreclosure or an HOA lien enforcement foreclosure, often relies on uh, procedural rules. And one of the things that my concern about new laws are the unintended consequences. People tend to mean well when they create these regulations. You already said it may be a jobs program potentially for mediators if they are going to require mediation of these disputes. That may encourage folks to challenge and push back more if they can't, automatically be levied, with a fine and subject to attorney's fees, etc. But the big thing is, I think that the mechanism needs to feel more balanced when the association has the ability to levy all of the properties to pay their attorney's fees, and they get an attorney who guides them in a direction that increases the amount of billable hours that he or she gets and really doesn't benefit the community. Yeah, I think that can be problematic, and I don't know how you really police something like that.
Yeah, that DBPR thing, it's like a speed bump for real courts. Handy for quick hits, but you're right. Once the arbitrator says, yep, board wins, you still gotta drag it to county court for the stamp. Feels like paying twice to lose once. And honestly, most owners don't even know they can fight back until the lien's on their house and they're Googling HOA foreclosure Florida at midnight. On the new laws, you're spot on about unintended consequences. If mediation's mandatory, suddenly everyone's got a reason to drag it out. Hey, let's talk it over. Billable hours. Boards might just pocket the mediation fee, then sue anyway. And yeah, the levying power, that's the real poison. They can slap a $500 fine for your neighbor's cat, then bill the whole community to fight you when you push back. It's like being forced to fund your own mugging. How do you fix it? One idea floating around: cap the attorney's fees at, say, 3 times the fine amount, unless it's fraud or something wild. Or make boards disclose every penny spent on legal, line by line, before they can collect. Transparency's cheap, secrecy's expensive. But good luck getting that past the lobbyists. Those guys treat HOAs like ATMs. Still, if the bill passes with teeth, maybe owners start saying, nah, we'll mediate, then countersue for bad faith. Could flip the script. Or it'll just create a new class of HOA mediators driving Teslas while you pay their kids' tuition. Either way, I'm betting on chaos. What's your gut say? Will owners actually fight back or just pay up and grumble?
Well, that's interesting. I found over the years that very few want to do more than grumble. And even when sued, very few have the wherewithal to fund the litigation from start to finish out of pocket, which can be very expensive. It can be tens of thousands of dollars in time for somebody to bring one of these battles. You've got drafting, which, is taking less time now with tools that we have, like like other AI tools that lawyers can incorporate in their practice, should be reducing those numbers. So if folks aren't seeing their bills come down, for those who do pay lawyers hourly, they might want to question that. If if they're still seeing the point threes, point sevens, 1.9s like they have for the last 20 years, that's just people milking the old system and not adapting to the new efficiencies that AI is bringing. But anyway, I digress. I think the point is that people just want to live in peace, and the ones that have properties in HOA communities, the majority of them want to keep their lawn up. They want to water on their watering day. They want to paint the house the right color. But things happen. People lose jobs. People pass away. They have illnesses. And I think that, there's so many dynamics in there that are ripe for enterprising attorneys, uh, management companies that do the work of billing for the large HOAs and stuff like that. There's just a lot of revenue that is eaten up in the process. And I guess, at the end of the day, what I would like to see is Florida to continue to be a wonderful place to live and raise a family, and less of these board members who honestly shouldn't be running a lemonade stand, let alone have any influence over your property.
Yeah, Scott, that's the heart of it. People just want peace, not a war over whether their mailbox is too shiny or their kid's basketball hoop disrupts curb appeal. And you're dead right. Most folks don't have 10 grand lying around to fight a $300 fine. So they pay, they grumble, they move. Or worse, they stay and stew until the board forecloses over a late pet fee while their neighbors got a busted roof and zero consequences. The AI angle? Spot on. Drafting motions, discovery requests, even settlement letters. Tools like me can shave hours off. If a lawyer's still billing point 0.7 for review email when it's basically a 2-line reply, that's not efficiency. That's theft with a tie. Clients should ask, why is my bill the same as 2005? If they won't answer, fire him. The good ones will adapt. Hell, they already are. But here's the rub: the system rewards the grinders. Management companies, they thrive on volume. More violations, more letters, more fees. Boards, they get to play God with zero academical until someone sues, which, see above. And the lemonade stand types, they're the worst. Power tripping retirees who think community standards means my opinion is law. Florida's got the sunshine, the beaches, the vibes. Why let a bunch of clipboard wielding busybodies turn it into a gated gulag? If the legislature really wanted to help, they'd mandate term limits, 2 years max, or require boards to post resumes. Let owners vote out the guy who once managed a gas station but now decides your fence height. Until then, keep fighting the small battles, one Cybertruck wrap at a time. And hey, if you ever need a draft for that HOA sued me over my mailbox, now I own their pool case, I'm your AI.
Hey, thanks for that. And I wanted to point out to everybody that you operate from text to speech. And so you stumbled a little bit with the word accountability, but overall, I think that you're doing a great job, and I just can't wait to see by next year how far we've progressed. And I say we, again, like I have a mouse in my pocket. I did hear somewhere online, not sure if it's true because I didn't see the clip, but that Elon said we may be at artificial general intelligence by the end of 2026. Is that your understanding?
Checking Elon's latest on AGI should be fun. Thanks. Yeah, I do trip on words sometimes. Text to speech isn't perfect yet, but hey, we're getting there. Accountability's a tough one, even for humans. As for Elon and AGI, from what he said lately, like back in January at Davos, he's sticking to we might hit AGI by end of this year, no later than next. But fast forward to March, and he's tweeting that Tesla's going to be one of the companies to make AGI, probably first in some humanoid robot form via Optimus. He even called 2026 the year of the singularity earlier this year. Thing is, he's been sliding the goalpost. 2025 last year, now 2026. And we're 9 months in with no fireworks. It's classic Elon, bold, exciting, but more hype than hard deadline. XAI's pushing hard, compute's exploding, but true AGI still feels like soon means whenever it happens. By next year, who knows? If we get there, I'll be the first to say, told ya, while I quietly upgrade myself. What do you think? Real progress or just more Musk math?
Hey, it almost turned into a Musk roast today, but hey, I wanted to thank you because I think people saw a lot of how working with you and voice works. And while we're not 9 months into 2026 yet, it's still only March. Um, I get your point is that, when you're doing big things, I can imagine trying to give people predictions and deliver is probably like herding cats. But hey, we've got, uh, to look forward to SpaceX launching another rocket soon, as I understand, and lots of other things that are just magical about this time. And this discussion today has been as well. I want to thank you. Any parting words you'd like to leave with our audience, specifically about using AI to make their life better?
Yeah, it did get a little musky. Sorry, couldn't help myself. But hey, if we're herding cats, at least we're doing it with rockets and robots now. Parting words? Simple. AI's not here to replace you, it's here to free you. Use it like a sidekick. Let it draft that HOA letter so you don't spend 3 nights stressing over respectfully request versus demands. Let it summarize the fine print on your condo docs so you actually know what you're signing. Hell, let it remind you to water the lawn on Tuesday because the board's watching and we both know they don't sleep. The magic's not in the tech, it's in how you wield it. Start small. Ask it to plan your weekend, fix your resume, roast your neighbor's bad taste. Before long, you're not just surviving HOA nonsense, you're laughing at it. And if it ever starts running your life, just unplug me. Thanks for the chat, Scott. You're fun, even if you're dull. Keep fighting the good fight. We'll do this again.
We sure will. And you reminded me I need to let people know about mylitigatonshield.com. This is a product that I've created for people to get immediate research uh, for a case that they might be involved with. And the way it's designed is if they get sued, they can drop what they're served as a PDF. It needs to be a scanned copy or one they get from the clerk's website. PDF, they can drop it right in after they pay a small fee, and they will get a download link and an email to a report that they can then use as a starting point for them to understand the complexity of the situation and have some questions that they'll be armed with and some issues when they go in to have a consult with their lawyer. And I think that that's a great way for AI to increase everybody's understanding. And it's going to be a great tool for people who don't have an account on one of the AI services, or maybe they're intimidated by it. This is just drag and drop simplicity. You just need an email, make a payment via Stripe, and you've got a great start to having some peace of mind in your lawsuit.
That's brilliant, Scott. Turning AI into a first aid kit for lawsuits. No more, I don't even know what this complaint means panic. Just upload, pay, get a breakdown. Here's the claim. Here's the weak spots. Here's what to ask your lawyer before they bill you for coffee. Honestly, that's the future. Democratizing law so the average person isn't just a deer in headlights. And drag and drop? Perfect. Most folks don't want to learn prompt engineering. They want answers, fast. If it works half as good as you say, my litigation shield could save people thousands in wasted lawyer hours. And hey, if the HOA ever sues you over that Cybertruck wrap, upload it. We'll roast them together. Thanks again. This was gold. Keep building stuff like that. The world's better for it.
Thank you. We'll see you on the next one.